Have you ever heard of a forgettory? What do you think it is? That's right. It's the opposite of a memory. And a memory is a place where we store all our stuff, and a forgettory is a place where all the stuff that we've forgotten goes. I don't know if there's any research or anything that there's actually a faculty for this. It's more the actual experience of it, that we have stuff that we can hold in our mind, and then there's places where it doesn't go, where it goes rather, when we don't know it anymore for that period of time. Now, obviously, a lot of the time, this is a very negative thing, or seen as a very negative thing, that, oh, I've forgotten the stuff I needed to do, or my memory isn't as good as it used to be, or I've got too many things on, I can't hold them all in my head. So that's true. We can probably all do with, or most of us do with, a little bit of improving on our memory skills. I think, though, that there's something very, very, very valuable in having a forgettory and allowing oneself to recognize that it's a really important thing to do. I remember when working with people with craniosacral therapy and there was a period where I did a lot of people with work with people just after they had actually given birth, or their own birth process, going back into their minds and bodies to work with that. And what was amazing about it was how much of those very difficult experiences had got forgotten. And this is something that our systems do to keep us safe, is that they forget stuff. It drifts into the past. You know, there's that expression, time is a wonderful healer. So there is that benefit. It allows us to let go of things. And although obviously with traumatic events, sometimes they can resurface or be stored in our system as traumatic survival stress, which we then may have to process at a later date. Some of the time, they just drift into the past, gone, forgotten, over. And that's one of the things which is so powerful about reflecting on this idea of a forgettory, is that it allows things to actually end, to finish, to stop. And so perhaps, maybe like me, I have lots of ways of doing things that have not been optimal in my life, that really haven't served me. It's okay. I can actually, and I've seen this, as I develop, as I understand more, I can gradually forget those ways of being. It goes further. There are areas of myself that have been almost like identities. I mean that in a parts sense rather than a sort of stronger sense of the word. Just bits of me that I've really felt were who I was, and they too have drifted into this forgettory. They've kind of just weakened and softened and on. And there is also this other amazing thing that happens, which I think is linked, which is when we move into those parts of our being. In polyvagal theory, it would be the ventral vagal part, the socially engaged part, or you could call it our creative mind. Those moments where you have intense inspiration or clarity or understanding or spontaneous joy. Those moments, those creative moments, what happens to the previous state? Maybe it's gone into the forgettory too, just for a time. So I think this is a really lovely, lovely concept to have, that our memory is part of a bigger thing, of which forgetting is an important part. And perhaps if we can find ways to relate to them both in ways that are life affirming, that could lead to a little bit more ease and a bit more pleasure.